So, two things that I learned. Art has a very interesting way of defining value that is not easily understandable or that people cannot dissect or decipher بشكل it's not a straight line. الشغلة الثانية, art has a very loud voice that gets to a lot of people around the world, and it يعدي الفروقات الثقافية واللغوية والخلفيات. It just has so much power.
When the influencer and journalist Nadab Aishan asked the gallery owner Mohammed Hafiz how to place value on art, Hafiz replied with 2 points. Art has an interesting way of defining value, and art is a form of soft power. To Hafiz's surprise, he could not have predicted how the exhibition Edge of Arabia would become a placeholder. To put Edge of Arabia into context, it was an art exhibition for a group of Saudi artists that happened in 2008. It was instigated because of the October 2003 National Geographic magazine cover, Kingdom on Edge. In 2008, the exhibition Edge of Arabia used soft power to expand on the National Geographic cover. Edge of Arabia is an influencer, mu'athir, for contemporary Saudi art and for group exhibitions of contemporary art. Edge of Arabia is an exhibition that was a scroll through thought. The show reflected on what Saudi artists had been working on for years. The artwork in the exhibition, Edge of Arabia, was not commissioned, meaning that the art and the artists were unfiltered. And because Saudi is a huge and diverse landmass, exhibition making was a feat.
سألت نفسك بيوم منو أكبر, السعودية ولا ألمانيا؟ السعودية ولا فرنسا؟ الحقيقة تقول إنك لو جمعت ألمانيا فوقها فرنسا، هولندا وبلجيكا، سويسرا والنمسا كلهم مجتمعين، الست دول هذولي ما يجون نصف مساحة المملكة العربية السعودية.
The culture of influence is embedded in our daily life. We can think of influencers as people who have the capacity to shape the attitudes, beliefs, or decisions of others because we believe they have some sort of authority or knowledge. Art is an influencer. It creates value, and it is a form of soft power by linking specific knowledge with an artistic practice. The mafak min rasi is to examine forms of influence in art, value, and soft power, and when does artistic practice become a tool of persuasion, the influencer? You've already done this a couple of thousand times just today. You clicked on something. Clicks govern our daily activities, our consumption, and social interactions. With a click on a keyboard, we can participate in democracy, and we can participate in the commodification of human suffering or the looming spectre of democracy. The artist Aziz Ashour's work, Click, made of clicks, keys from keyboards, is a work that is still unfolding, addressing matters that we are now finding more urgent than ever. Ashour was a frequent visitor to the Souk Haraj. On a visit in 2004, he felt compelled to buy 8 boxes full of discarded keyboards. The specificity of buying Souk market discarded clicks, creating a work of value linked to his brain's fixation on the power of the click at a point in time. It is very specific.
بالنسبة لي كان مفتاح كليك مفتاح مرعب للغاية. مرعب إذا تصورنا أن هناك من يملك صلاحية تنفيذ عملية من نوع عمليات حسابية أو عملية تدميرية أو حتى عملية عدائية. لو نتصور أن هذا الشخص قبل قيامه بضغطة كليك كان هو المسؤول عن تنفيذ هذه العملية، لكن بمجرد ضغطة كليك الأخيرة أصبحت هذه المسؤولية خارج حساباته. الأكثر رعباً في المشهد بالنسبة لي هو أنه مثله مثل ملايين الناس في العالم يجلسون في غرفهم ويشاهدون على التلفاز ما يصل إليهم بينما ما يحدث في الواقع الطبيعي قد يكون مدمرا ومعقدا وصعبا ومكلفا للغاية. من هنا كانت فكرة أعمال كليك في العام 2006 هو هذا التصور أو هذا الفارق الذي لا يمكن احتماله بين ما هو مرئي على الشاشة وما يحدث في الواقع الطبيعي. ولذلك كان هذا العالم الرقمي بالنسبة لي مدهش للغاية.
In 2025, 6 months before the opening of the Venice Biennale 2026, Trump woke up one morning and decided to bypass the National Endowment for the Arts. He handed the United States national participation for the upcoming Venice Biennale 2026 directly to a private Trump-aligned organization called the American Arts Conservancy, and delegated pet shop owner to run the Conservancy. Why did this happen?
And governments also spend a ton of money on pavilions. Why?
I mean, it's cultural diplomacy, statecraft, and a bit of nation washing, and they're able to create a cultural mythos, and that's soft power.
In a nutshell, Trump wanted to reshape U.S. soft power, and the Venice Biennale for Art is the place where politics and power play out. Trump's new guidelines is that the art must advance international understanding of American values by exposing foreign audiences to innovative and compelling works of art that reflect and promote American values. If we read through the guidelines for the U.S. presentation at international art biennales published by the U.S. State Department, the guidelines read like a foreign policy document. Some guidelines to note when applying for these grants are foster mutual understanding and deepen trust between the people of the United States and foreign countries to counter negative stereotypes and advance safety and security, advance and complement U.S. foreign policy objectives, establish sustained relationships and linkages between the U.S. and foreign audiences. These are all embedded socio-political messages, not obvious until they are deciphered as shaping soft power. Anyone who had a pass for the Venice Biennale 2026 and got the memo that biennales are a place for soft power, ما كذبوا خبر. Since 2024, cultural workers who organized through groups like Art Not Genocide Alliance lobbied the Venice Biennale to kick out Israel. They said it was double standard when it comes to Israel's permitted participation of the Biennale, although the Venice Biennale did not let in South Africa during its apartheid regime and left out Russia in 2022 after its invasion of Ukraine. This set on deaf ears. The Venice Biennale organizers just sat on the sidelines.
Don't nobody else make me feel like no broke boys, no new friends. Don't nobody else make me feel like no broke boys, no new friends. Don't nobody else make me feel like no broke boys, no new friends. Don't nobody else make me feel like.
Gauze also has a double standard. To part of the world, gauze is for skincare and elective surgeries, Botox, skin blemish removal. And to another part of the world, the use of gauze is because you've been shot at, bombed, or just blown apart. Hazem Harb works with the material gauze that takes its name from Hazem's home city, Gaza. These are archive images from Hazem's early works in 2004. In these projects, Hazem wraps himself in gauze in Gaza. The influence of gauze and the context of Gaza is very specific. This specificity is the value of the art. These are recent works. Hazem molds the gauze on cardboard. I saw these works in Riyadh at the Dir'iyah Biennale in January 2026 with Hazem. Shash و أشلاء. Register that. The Venice Biennale has a 5-member team jury that decides the prestigious Golden Lion Award. Days after the opening of the Venice Biennale in May 2026, the jury resigned in protest of the Venice Biennale organizers' deaf ear to the values the jury held. The deaf ear then tried to counteract the jury resignation by handing over an award that is prestigious because it is selected by an expert jury to the Biennale visitors' online click vote. We have to make a side note here. The Venice Biennale is the influencer in the global art market. The Golden Lion Award confirms to the entire world and its subsidiary planets which work to value. So, the very art tourists that paid €30 for the ticket are going to judge who makes the best artwork for the global art market to put a price on and then sell it in an open market. It's so ironic. Word of advice, never try to outplay the creatives. Over 80 artists, that's more than half of the participating artists, and 22 national pavilions in the Venice Biennale 2026 mobilized their soft power. They withdrew their art from being nominated for the visitors' click. So in effect, the artists and pavilions that withdrew influenced the award by leaving just rotten tomatoes to be judged. They understood the memo that the Venice Biennale is a place for soft power to promote values. What makes art of value or valuable may not be immediately obvious, but there are codes within the artwork or the project, like clicks and gauze. Edge of Arabia was coded with soft power that revealed more as time passed. And sometimes value and soft power manifest in a second. The events that took place at the Venice Biennale in 2026 happened so fast. For every action the Venice Biennale tried to take, the artists and pavilions countered it immediately. Value and soft power are not obvious. Thank you for your attention to the influencers.